Welcome back to Adventure 82. So today we're having a look around Fountains Abbey. I've not been to Ripon before, let alone Fountains Abbey, so this should be quite interesting. It's supposed to be quite spectacular. There's also there's a Royal Water Gardens here as well, so also going to have a look at that. So let's get going. Right, so we've been told we've got Fountains Abbey, like I said before, we have the water park, and apparently we've been told by a very nice lady who's just come through main reception, which is over there where you check, where you get your tickets and stuff. There's also a mill, so they give you like little maps, see?
Yeah.
See, so there's our map.
And the mill's here.
Where? Because there's letters, so it must be. Which one is it? Oh, there, the Fountains Mill. There's letter E.
There, look.
Spot the
I was
E.
right there.
There we go. So that's where we're, and it's about the first stop is actually the actual Abbey itself, which is in ruins. No prizes for guessing who destroyed it, but yes, it was William. It was, sorry, Henry VIII. So, with his dissolution of the monasteries. But this particular abbey was actually founded by 13 monks who got, for lack of a better term, bored with how rowdy it was at the abbey. They were in St Mary's Abbey back in York, and they set up their own abbey here in Ripon to be closer to God in the quiet and peaceful manner of which they believed being a monk should be. Daddy. That was back in 1126, which is a long time ago now. So by the time that it came to be demolished by Henry VIII, it had been up for over 450 years almost by the time that he got round to demolishing it. But let's go have a look at what's left of it. And just so you're aware, today's not a solo outing. So we have
here
Charlotte, dog, puppet dog.
He's not a puppet.
What's the dog called?
Pancake.
That's the pretend dog, not the real dog. The real dog's probably still called Mary. And everybody else is all over there.
Daddy.
Looks like they've been busy here. In the grounds of the Abbey, and looks like they've been kind of filling in new bits and whatever ready for the summer season, because as I'm filming you here, this is March, so their main season hasn't started yet, but it really is very, very pretty. Loads of little birds singing as well. It's quite pretty peaceful up here. You can kind of see even now why the monks chose to be here, to be honest. Right, so we've got some stuff up ahead here. We've got a bird hide, which is where Eric wants to go next. So we'll go and have a look at that next. I'm not sure what's at the bird hide, or if we'll see anything, and if we do, it's be quite difficult to pick on the camera, but I will try. Let's have a look. Right, so we're actually inside the bird hide, and I've actually got a list of all the different birds they've seen so far today and how many of each. Look at this. Got chaffinch, great tit, blue tit, cold tit, you've got seen dunnock and nuthatch. I'm half of these. You've even seen pigeons, look. And somebody has seen, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people have seen a squirrel. So that'd be quite cool. Well, for some reason you've got pigeon here, but then someone's also written pigeon over here. Oh, is that a wood pigeon? Wood pigeon. So someone's just written general pigeon. So this is basic pigeon. This is wood pigeon. That's the same thing. You can see here, look, little birds trying to eat. It's pretty cool. Look at that. Let's keep up, guys. Right, so we're almost at the Abbey now, but everything's reasonably close together. So I'm going to have a guess that that's over there. I don't know if it comes up very well on the video, but I'm going to guess that's over there is probably the mill, sorry. So we'll have a look at the Fountains Mill in a moment. More interested right now though in this rather impressive structure that Charlotte and Blaze are heading towards.
Yeah!
Look at that. It's a stunning piece of architecture, that. I imagine, looking at how grand that window is in it, we'll get a close look in a moment. Imagine once upon a time that probably had stained glass in it. Let's go have a look. Right, so this quite impressive structure is Fountains Hall. Look at that. So, as you can really see by this sign here, it says open today 10 till 4, so we can go in it. The lady did stress, however, at reception where you get the tickets from, they're only allowed on the ground floor. So we'll have a look around the ground floor in here. The next stop will be the mill, then the Abbey, because the Fountains Abbey isn't just the Abbey and that's it. There was a whole thing, so it had its own grange, it was making wool, it had industry here as well. It wasn't just the Abbey itself, it expanded beyond that. So we've got quite a cool staircase going up. So Fountains Hall, that's the bit you can go in there, go in there in a moment. Downstairs bit there, but check out this window. Look at that. They've got some old school music on in here actually, listen. Look at this. So, like a time warp. Absolute time warp. That's so cool. Okay. What's in here? I'll look at some of this furniture is. Nice the original music. Yes. Floor plan of the Abbey. Just going to get a shot of it without the window showing. There you go. All these old site plans. I have no idea if there's going to be a content match for this music, but I think it'll be interesting to find out. But look at these. I'm guessing that's somebody who used to live here. Somebody still does live here. The actual reason you can't use the rest of this site, apart from the ground floor that we're looking at now, The reason you can't look at the other floors is because the upper floors are used for a venue for weddings and such. Some parts of the Abbey are actually still lived in as well, so they're off limits as well because they're private. But this is quite cool. What a stunning thing. Look. Honeywell. Yes. So you've got the oak room. It looks like it was a really grand bedroom. The great chamber. Look at this. The grandeur of this, just this hall, and we're not even at the Abbey yet. You can imagine how much the Abbey would have been. Look at this. Old sofa. I think it's safest to assume that this is probably the most expensive sofa I've ever sat on. This hall, and this is just the beginning of it, is a very grand place. I can see why people would have one of their weddings or whatever here. And it really does feed into how grand the Abbey, before it was destroyed by Henry VIII, must have been. Speaking of which, that's where we're off now. So let's go and have a look at this Abbey and this mill, because this wasn't just a place where people lived. Like I said before, it was also a hive of industry, as well as religion. So there was quite a few different things here, and they had their own little mini community within the Fountains Abbey land. So let's go have a look at that. Erica has found yet another bridge. Look at the stream though.
It's so pretty.
It is very pretty, yeah. Look at this.
I want to throw a stick in there.
Right. So, this is quite a narrow bridge. Erica's causing a traffic jam. Look at this. Poor people just want to leave. And Erica's there trying to be an influencer, posing for a photo.
Hello.
Soon to be on fucking TikTok probably.
Oh, what?
No squirrels. That's a fake squirrel.
No.
But we just got invaded by a squirrel. Right, so where's?
I'll do.
Right, so now Erica's done posing on the bridge. We've made it to the mill. Now, for some reason which I don't understand, I'm sure there is one, might be a strength issue to be fair. The other bridge that goes across to the mill path there, you can see probably, is barricaded off. It doesn't really specify why. It just says, okay, historic. Okay, so it's a historic bridge. They're not letting you cross it, so you don't damage it. Right, okay. So it's safe to assume by the fact there's no water flowing down here, but that all the water that will go down here ends up at our mill. This was indeed an water mill. So it's another little outbuilding to do with the hall and the mill land. So, oh wow! But I've still got one of the little sluice gates. Got the old little mechanism in the stone there. One of the little sluice gates would have been used to divert water. I'm guessing that maybe would have been an overflow.
Overload.
So that's quite cool. Or when it was at full flow, they could have either, I would imagine what would have happened is this would have you screw that, the door would come up. You'd seal all the water in here. If they wanted to lower pressure, or they needed to stop the mill from working, drop the water level, they would then screw this down, all the water would fall through here, go down into the little culvert down there and end up, I guess, probably back at the river where it came from. And then that would then in turn stop the wheel from turning. Because you can see here they've got a couple of sluice gates on the outside too for this mill. So we've got a sluice gate over there. We've got another sluice gate here. You've got kind of mesh over it now. That sluice gate's no longer here. The other sluice gate, on the other hand, though, the old school wooden sluice gate, is still there. That won't have been turned in a long time. You can hear the water, at least I can. I don't think I'm showing the video. I'll stop from that. There we go. I don't know if you can hear that, but you can hear the water flowing in. Back in the day when this was in constant flow, you probably wouldn't have had quite so much dirt. But what I think is also quite interesting, I don't know if you've noticed, you can see flow underneath. That's because there's actually a thin layer of ice today on here, because it's still quite cold up here in Yorkshire. It's somewhere between 0 and -2 depending where you are. So this is still frozen, which is why you can't see any of the bits moving around in the water. So the water's moving underneath the ice. It's very thin ice, but it's still ice. But next thing is to go and have a look inside. Right, so you can see here they're doing some restoration work and some stuff here clearly. Either restoration or they just got it in storage and on display for us to look at. Because this mill, once upon a time, originally this mill was a flour mill. Very successful flour mill at that. And that was started off in the 1100s, and then by the late 1400s, mid 1400s, it turned into a sawmill, which was still water powered on both accounts, which is why you can also hear water, because that's where our water's running in. You can see one of the old pipes down there as well, actually. Looks like there's a little chamber, I'm guessing there maybe with a bucket or something attached to that. So this would have been right up to quite high when it was being filled up, this chamber. Water would have gone underneath us, flowed through underneath us here, and it would have powered all the mill. Let's see what else we can have a look at. There's an upstairs to this. And I think there's another bit on the other side as well. So let's go have a look at those. So this would have been where they ate. Still got the original cooking furnace there. Fake bread. Look at this. That's astonishing. So much old mountain stone. This must have been modern or slightly changed at some point, because that clearly goes into there now. You can see here where there's a front stone, hearth stone. So that would have been an open fireplace maybe originally, and then this was put in, and then they've bricked up the rest and just put the flue straight up the original chimney, is what they've probably done there. But look at it. Other than that, it's got the roofing and everything. Exactly the same as it was when it was built in the 1100s. Little storage cupboards. See another filled in. There would have been another fireplace, I'm guessing. Proper solid walls even now. You can see it's got like some kind of light water damage, but nothing that will do it any harm. So people actually used to visit this mill in the 1100s. They used to say how charming the little mill was. So you've got a little front courtyard out there as well. And Charlotte's found some sort of yew. Or just another way in?
It's
Nice.
another way in.
Okay.
Look.
Okay, look at that. There's a little bell you can ring. Lady's trying to get it to ring if it rings. Ah,
I think I know how to get it to
that
work.
was a bell that would have rung to get people to go to the Abbey for church. 'Cause obviously, at the end of the day, it is a monastery. So church was a big part of life. So when they rang the bell, you had to go do your prayers and such like, and then work recommenced once that was done.
Can I ever go ringing
But you see, it was quite a big complex, all these different mills, and the little ruins you can see in the background is the beginnings of the Abbey, which is where we're off to next.
Daddy.
You can also see some dumped stone. I don't know if that's from the Abbey. I think it probably would be. But come on, we're getting all this sandstone up here, mind you. This is that second flue we saw when we were at the front of the mill. So you can see we were over this side of the water before, now on the opposite side. So this is the other metal section that I'm telling you about. So this would have been, by the slope in there, I'd say that's probably the outflow. But we have got some little windows here so we can have a look and see. So there's a little courtyard you saw from the window. See, so that's your water wheel. So what would have happened here then is your water went in on the other side. Let me turn this around. Your water went through on the other side where we saw it flowed into the building. Must have flowed underneath through piping, came out in here, turned the water wheel, which then rotated all the various cogs mechanism which powered the grindstones which were in the room next door, grinding up the flour, or powering the saw as it was when it was a sawmill. But that's pretty cool. The mechanism's still there. Look at it. That's very impressive. Very impressive mechanism. And it's still maintained, obviously, because they've got a ladder in here where they keep going in to maintain it. That's pretty awesome. Right, so there's the bell as you saw before. Charlotte wants to try ringing it. I think they've covered it in some kind of soft material to stop it actually ringing. But she insists on me filming it and then sticking it in the video for you guys to see her trying to film the bell. So here's Charlotte trying to ring the bell.
It doesn't ring.
Yes, it does.
This looks like Rapunzel's hair.
Yeah, yank it hard.
It looks like Rapunzel's hair.
Yeah. Look.
Let's go.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
She did it. She did it. Fair play, she did it. Right, to the Abbey. Right, so I've actually found that there's a way to get down closer to this water wheel. So, look at that. Absolutely stunning piece of engineering. It's still there. I would imagine probably if they fired it up still works, to be fair. So it looks like it's been pretty well maintained. That's pretty awesome. That's really cool. Let's have a look at the other side because there's another window.
You can see the thingy.
Oh, Charlotte's got a point. You can actually see there that must still be run because it's really well greased and it's been lubricated recently. So they must run this at certain times of the year, maybe.
It's like some sort of brick.
Yeah, we can't get up that way. But Charlotte's right. Now, I reckon once upon a time that would have been the doorway in to do maintenance.
They filled
But
it
that
in.
sealed it off.
They filled it in, but
So that's pretty awesome. Look at this. So I'm guessing this bit was an add-on because you can see this is red brick and the original building is sandstone. So either there's been some repair work done or this was added in maybe, or altered maybe when it was a sawmill. But that's pretty awesome. And then we've got another section in here You can see here, see where the water used to flow through and round. So it used to flow through the building. And then you've got part of what would have been the store there. The loud noise you can hear is there's a video in the other room next door. Well, look at all this, see? This is what we were looking at from above before. So when we originally looked at this lot, when we originally looked at all this, we were up there in that little cubby hole up here. You can see there, this is down below. So this would have been the kind of setup that the water would have been connected to when they were being a flour mill. So that would have been your base stone, and that metal section there would have had the top stone on it, which would have ground the flour, which is here, which Eric has found.
Yeah.
And those would have then grinded the seeds together to make the flour. It's amazing all this is still here, you know.
I found something.
Gosh, and Charlotte's found something too, apparently.
Over here.
What?
In the hole.
Yeah, that would have been more to do with the water flow again, I think.
Have a look.
I think you'll find part of the mechanism would have come in through there. Looks like it anyway, there's a mounting point here. There's clearly or something mounted there. You can see where the bolts have been cut off. And then over here. So, I mean, at one point when this was fully functional, it was running full time as just a flour mill. It had 3 different grinding stones on the go at once. That's how much corn, how much flour this place was kicking out. They started off with a small one like that, and they progressed, and by the time that they were in full go, they had like 3 of these massive stones here, all on the go at once, producing flour, obviously for themselves, but then also to sell on and make money for the monastery to keep it going, you know, because even they had to eat and everything. So what we'll go and have a look now is if what I'm thinking is correct, then what we should have here now is the continuation of the water flow. So these are the lower levels. What you saw before, up above where the water came in, that's above us here. Where it disappeared, you remember you saw that curved pipe? That's where it brings it down, drops it down into here. Then it comes into this pit here, flows underneath, and goes off on its way down there. Obviously if everything was in full flow, which it isn't, that's how that would work. So I'm guessing maybe at some point possibly even had a boiler system.
I found the turbo.
And then
I found the turbo.
this would have been more, this is electric powered, so this would have been, this I'm guessing would have been when it was modernised at some point. Maybe this was put in, I don't know whether this was put in the 50s or actually what this was put in for. It's high voltage, this is definitely electrically powered. So let's have a look at this. Focus on this mill. William Tebb. So then it was a normal flour mill, a corn mill, and then it became, so it's a flour mill, then a wood mill, sawmill. Then it was a corn mill, it changed to be a corn mill under somebody else. Then it was, the building was used as a dairy, but obviously the mill wasn't used, and then it became a mill again 1923 to 1927, so for a period of 4 years. You can see the last time the millstones were used to make flours on the 13th of July 1927. But as far as this is concerned, so it's got like a turbo boost system, it says here. So over 100 years ago, the mill was given a new lease of life. It harnessed power from the river scale to generate electricity. So that's an electricity generator.
Oh look, it says it's
And then it was power using electricity to power everything else. That's quite cool. So that would explain why there's waterways that don't seem to connect up properly. So you've got some of the old waterways left which have been rediverted to power that. And then we go out this way. another section that would have been once upon a time filled with water. We've got another bridge to cross it. So it's safe to assume what happened is that the water was used directly to power originally the millstones, then the saw when it was a sawmill, and then finally used by the dairy to power an electric generator which powered electricity for the dairy when they were using the building site here. And then it was used obviously again for a period of just the 4 years as a sawmill again until 1927, when it was finally shut down and it was no longer a mill. But that's quite a lengthy history, and we haven't even got to the Abbey yet. Right, so you can see here where the overflow from the mill comes back out and meets the river. You've got the river one side here, the overflow from the mill here, and they both seem out to go under this bridge and then become the one stream again on the other side. But check out how much of this Abbey there is.
Daddy, can we go have a look?
Right, so that's the end of this bit of the video. I actually filmed so much that we will have to come back and do a second bit, otherwise it'll probably go on for too long. You'll get bored, and then that'll be that basically. So what we'll do is we'll come back and we'll look at the actual Abbey itself, which is an amazing thing, as was the water gardens, in the next video. I also want to take the opportunity to apologise, because you've probably noticed the sound's a bit up and down. As I found out, the microphone on the current media mod for the GoPro 9 onwards isn't as compatible, should we say, with what I'm doing as the media mod was for the GoPro 8. So going forwards, what I'll do is I'll just use my microphone I used to use on the bigger camera, and I'll mount that on there, and then I'll have my little clip-on bit like I used to. That will be that. But it'll give you guys better sound. So my apologies for the sound quality. You'll probably have the same problem on the next one, unfortunately, because obviously the whole thing was filmed on the same camera. But like I say, my apologies for that. I do hope. Sorry, GoPro's on sleep. I do hope you've enjoyed what you've watched. That was absolutely amazing, I have to say, because I wasn't expecting there to be half as much history there as there was. But that was really quite an interesting and wonderful day. And it turned out to be quite sunny in the end as well, because it was only going to be overcast as well. So that was a bonus. But thank you very much for watching. If you'd be so kind as to subscribe, I would very much appreciate it, but it's by no means mandatory. And take care of yourselves. I'll see you soon, and have a wonderful week, whatever it is you get up to. Bye bye for now.